Hi folks, my name is John Vesco and I'm the owner of John Vesco Real Estate. I presently own two RE/MAX franchises in Eastern North Carolina. A little bit about myself: I've retired from the Marine Corps after 21 years, and then I got into real estate sales, which I've been doing for 21 years after that. Basically, the reason I'm doing this is I want the public to be more informed about the real estate process, and I want the agents to be more informed about why join a different brokerage, what your career is like, pretty much all things real estate. A little bit about myself: as I said, I retired from the Marine Corps as a gunnery sergeant after 21 years, and now this is my 21st year in real estate. If you're a realtor, you understand that the National Association of Realtors issues designations and qualifications depending on your experience, knowledge, and transactions. Just to let the general public know, I have 11 of those designations. I'm an ABR, an ACP, a CAIS, a CDPE, a CRB. There's so many, I gotta write them down. CRS, GRI, PSA, Real Estate Negotiation Expert, RSPS, SPS. So pretty much I have a lot of the designations. When you're looking at a realtor, on the back of their business card, it will have that little alphabet soup after it. If you're a realtor, you already understand the training. If you're not a realtor, the only thing that you need to know is that I do have the different designations for experience and training, everything from property management to commercial to individual real estate sales. Well, enough about me. Let's get into the subject property. What we're talking about today is your house is under contract. Now, what do I need to know? So you listed with the realtor, or you did a for sale by owner, your house is under contract. What are some of the finer points you need to know about understanding the process of what's going to happen? Okay, first thing you need to know is you accepted the information, you accepted the offer to purchase. I want you to read the offer to purchase carefully. A lot of agents, by mistake or intent, put extra stuff in the contract after you verbally agreed to it, and then all of a sudden when you signed the contract you didn't know it was in there. So always read the contract, always read the disclosures, okay? For the buyer, you want to verify the lead-based paint disclosure if the house was built before 1978. You want to check the property disclosures, any homeowners association fees and rules, subdivision rules. You want to check the noise disclosures if you're by an airport or a military base. And you want to check about all the different local, city, and state requirements for that individual property. Okay? The house is under contract. You and the buyer and the seller agree to the terms. You're going to send the offer to purchase to both your attorneys. There will be a buyer attorney and a seller attorney. Some states use title companies. North Carolina uses attorneys. I always send them to whichever attorney I want to represent my customer. If I'm a buyer's agent, I want a different lawyer for my buyer, or the seller. The reason being that here it could be a conflict of interest. If I'm working for the seller, the buyer's attorney does the paperwork, but the buyer's attorney, if there's a dispute, is paid by the buyer, so the buyer will be the one that he takes representation of. Okay? Next thing we want to do is we want to start scheduling our inspections. North Carolina has a lot of septic systems because we're outside city limits. If you are inside the city limits with city water and city sewer, some of these inspections won't be necessary. If you are, and you do happen to have a septic, the first thing you want to do is check the septic tank. You want to pull the permit from the county offices. You want to make sure that whatever it was advertised at, such as a 3 or 4 bedroom, the permit is good for a 3 or 4 bedroom. You're going to have the septic tank inspected, you're going to have it cleaned, and you're going to pump out the lines. And the septic inspector will actually give you a report telling you the condition. A lot of people say we've never had a problem, but a lot of times they are not aware of the problems because the problems are underground. Okay? We also want to do a home inspection. Home inspection takes about 3 or 4 hours. It's done by a licensed home inspector. His job is to identify pretty much everything wrong with the house. He will go out there. Some are more detailed than others. They check your GFIs, they check your appliances, they make sure the light fixtures work, they check the fuse boxes. The one thing you need to know is that the inspectors are looking for everything wrong with the house. The seller is not required to deliver a perfect house, okay? In North Carolina, in the contract itself, it says that the off that the house is being sold as is unless other agreements are made. Okay? So the negotiations on the home inspections are a stumbling block, but you have to work through it. It has to be a win-win for the buyer or the seller, or the deal will fall through. Okay? After that, we do what's called the WDIR, which is a wood destroying insect report. Make sure you don't have any termites, wood-boring bees. It's not just about termites. There's any wood-boring animals, okay? Insects, things like that. If the inspection comes back clean, which means that there were no termites noted, you're good to go. If it comes back with previous termites, and it was treated, you may need what's called a structure letter from a licensed general contractor to make sure that the termites didn't do any repairs or any damage to the house that would require repairs. Okay? And then you want it to be retreated or a new WDIR issued by the termite company. Okay? Next thing we want to do is, if you are on a well, you want to do a well inspection. Certain mortgage companies will require it on a VA loan or an FHA loan because they want to make sure there's nothing wrong with the drinking water. The appraisal is another issue. The bank will give a notice to an appraiser to go out and do the appraisal on the house. They're checking for value and condition. Now, what I mean by that is they're making sure that the price of the house of what you're paying is worth the value. The appraiser can add additional repairs to the appraisal if he feels it's necessary for the loan to go through. A big thing that gets hit is trip hazards, holes, sometimes stumps in the front yard. They get hit occasionally for the appraisal. Next thing you want to do is you want to check in North Carolina, we have a professional services disclosure. There's a whole bunch of inspections you can do. I think there's listing like 13. You can do radon inspections and things like that. Check with your realtor about all the different inspections you can have. Some of them won't be necessary. Some of them will, you can have a survey done, things like that. Have as many as you want. Talk to the other professionals, appraisers, home inspections, lawyers, things like that. Issues that usually come up on the home inspection are the air conditioning, the big things, the air conditioner, the roof, and the crawl space. The AC may need some servicing. It may not be working as intended. The roof, sometimes they're older. North Carolina, we have hurricanes. There might be damage to the inside trusses. In the crawl spaces, we're in a high moisture area. There could be moisture debris underneath the crawl space. Your home inspector will identify those things, and then you as the agent would send the request to the seller to see if they will fix them or not. Depending on what happens, they may or may not fix it. Septic tank, like I said, make sure it's inspected. The WDIR, the wood destroying insect report, make sure it comes back clean. Your appraisal, make sure it comes back at value. I want to keep a few things in mind that we talked about. Get with an attorney to talk about the offer to purchase, see if there's anything different, or check the value of your appraisal. After everything is done, all the inspections are done, everything's been agreed to, a couple of days before the closing, the buyer is going to want to do a walkthrough on the property to make sure that all the terms are agreed to and that the repairs that you agreed to are completed. Then what happens is usually a day or two before the closing, the attorney will send you what's called a closing disclosure, a CD, used to be called the HUD, to make sure it shows you where all your money went to and disappeared to. All the costs should be on there, and that's your final settlement. Okay?